Welcome to Almost Agreeable.
Almost Agreeable.
With your hosts, Chris Nellison and Ed Harris. Hang around and listen to opinions on sports, movies, music, and whatever else pops in our head.
Hey, welcome to the inaugural episode of Almost Agreeable. I'm one of your hosts, Ed Harris, and my co-host,
Chris Nellison, standing by.
So we're right over here. We're going to be talking about sports, music, movie, media, whatever pops into our heads. We're finally getting this thing off the ground.
Yeah, I would say that we had this idea to do this for a long time now, but now we're in I think you called it Corona headquarters.
Corona headquarters.
Right, and just haven't been able to really record with everything that's been going on. It's been pretty hectic during this whole thing, although it's given me a lot of time to focus on other things.
Absolutely.
Definitely not sports.
Definitely
because
not sports.
There hasn't been any sports, but that's going to be our topic today.
So why don't you tell them what we're going to be going over today? What are we going to be covering today?
Well, it's interesting because all we have right now is possibly a return to the NBA, right? This bubble thing, it's supposed to work. I don't want to get into the logistics and start talking about how maybe, something could happen where it doesn't actually happen. We're going to talk about it like it's going to happen. So we're going to get into that today, the bubble, what teams are in the bubble, what teams have been left out of the bubble, what we can, kind of look forward to as far as playoff matchups and stuff like that. And then after that, we could probably get into some NFL free agency, which has been like the only thing that's been going off on my ESPN notifications during this whole thing.
That's all that we've got.
Yeah, and it's been exciting.
It's been a blast. And
right, we're scrounging the bottom of the bucket here, people. It's not easy. We don't want to make it too boring where we're talking about transactions from the NHL because as much as I do like hockey, can't say that for a lot of people that might be listening. So trying to stick to the stuff that catches people's attention. I think after we talk about the NFL free agency, we're going to jump into a segment we have created. I call it Hot Route.
Hot Route.
Hot Route.
What is Hot Route?
So Hot Route's going to go like this, and it's going to change week to week. Today, when we do Hot Route, I'll be posing 3 scenarios to Ed, and he does not know what the questions or scenarios are going to be, but he has to have an answer for me as pertaining to those. There's going to be 3 of them, and they're sports related. Today, they're sports related. It could be anytime we do Hot Route. It could be anything depending on the topic that day.
Oh, okay, Hot Route.
Hot Route.
Hot Route. I like it.
Yeah. So I guess we can jump into the bubble.
Yeah, this year's been a crazy one.
Well, before we start, I think maybe I should let the audience know where my loyalties lie, right? Now, I can say, and I think maybe you can agree with me, maybe almost, when it comes to talking sports and analytics and statistics, I can be unbiased. Okay? But I am a Raider fan, diehard. Las Vegas now, I guess. Laker fan, and then pretty much mostly California teams. All right, I have a soft spot for the Sounders because I live up in Spokane now. But other than that, that's where my loyalties lie. But like I said from the get, I can be unbiased if I have to. What about you?
Well, I'm a Seahawks fan through and through, being from the Seattle area. And basketball died to me in 2008 when the Sonics left. So I've had a little bit of a revival over the last couple years, but it was absolutely dead to me for a while. But no, talking about this whole NBA bubble stuff, I absolutely have been loving watching all this stuff. Like, which teams are going to go where, because it makes me think of the actual season that we were watching.
Well, and it was getting real good for certain teams, right? Because we were coming to the stretch of the NBA season, which starts in October. Playoffs start in late April. So we were coming into the playoffs. A lot of teams are starting to pick up momentum, particularly the Lakers. That's an unbiased statement.
It was a key.
Okay.
It was a key part of the season, and I know you're being unbiased.
We came off 2 big wins against the Bucks and the Clippers, and then bam, Rudy Gobert ruins it for everybody. Just kidding, nobody really did. So season gets canceled, and then we don't know, right? We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if they're coming back. We don't know if they're going to scrap it and just start a whole new season in 2021. But Adam Silver, who I think has done a great job since, David Stern stepped down years ago.
Adam Silver's been fantastic.
Yeah, he's been great. So we've come to this bubble now, right? And what is it? I want to say 22 teams are in the bubble.
Is that because I'm not completely sure which teams are in the bubble, which
Right.
teams are out of the bubble.
Well, I bet you can guess like at least one team that didn't make it to the bubble just because they sucked this year.
Oh God, who was it? Where are you trying to go?
I mean, there's a few, but I really want to talk about how terrible the Knicks are, right?
Oh,
Everyone knows the
man.
Knicks didn't make it into the bubble, right? Okay, so here's your teams that did not make the bubble. Okay, we got the Atlanta Hawks,
Yeah.
the New York Knicks,
Yep.
the Cleveland Cavaliers, Golden State Warriors, right?
That
No
is
Clay,
true.
Steph gets
That
hurt,
is
Draymond
true.
gets hurt.
They're calling it off here.
Yeah.
You know?
And then there's just going to come back next year and probably kill. But
Most likely.
Chicago Bulls, Detroit Pistons, Hornets, and the Timberwolves. Notable names from the teams I just named that aren't going to be in this bubble, right? I said already Clay and Steph and Dre. Not going to miss a whole lot of people. Maybe
Really
Trae Young.
not.
Trae Young, I'm going to miss Trae Young.
That's really it. I mean, you know, he's an exciting young player. He's nice
just
to watch.
out there nutmegging everybody, man.
He really is. It's what he's doing is fantastic, but
Do you think he can sustain it? Like, he's a short guy. He's not very tall. He's not very physically imposing. Do you think he can sustain it?
he hasn't sustained anything yet. He's just had flashes so far. It's not like he's been an amazing player. I mean, you got to do it for at least 2-3 years, and then you're like, okay, that's a good player.
Okay, well, I look forward to watching him grow. But, you know, we've seen the short players experiment before, right? We've seen Muggsy Bogues. We've seen Nate Robinson. We've seen those guys. So it's going to be interesting to watch him. It's a new NBA now. It's very fast-paced. It's a shooter's game. And he's fit. He's fast. He's quick. He can shoot. And he nutmegs everybody. Okay, so let's talk about the teams that are going to be in the bubble. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the teams. Obviously, I named the teams that aren't going to be in the bubble. But we can talk about some of the teams in the bubble that I feel like are going to do some damage in the bubble. We'll start with Milwaukee, okay? The Bucks. Okay, you got Giannis. And then a bunch of players that are really good, but not great, right? You have a team, I would say, of role players, but they play so well together. Now listen to this before you throw in some disagreements with me or not. But this Milwaukee team had so much momentum coming into that April push for the playoffs.
They did.
And then I guess my biggest question is, can they build from that momentum that was, how many months ago was that now that we canceled or did we postpone the season? April, May, June, July.
Yeah.
So
It's been a long time. That's not sustainable. You can't have yourself hyped for months when you're doing nothing.
Especially when you don't know.
It's not that you're doing nothing. Yeah, maybe you're working out. Yeah, maybe you're finally getting into practices and stuff like that. But you're not even in the same mindset anymore. It's July.
right. The season would be
Finals
over.
would have already have happened.
Yeah.
It's a completely different feeling. Like some of these veterans, their body knows if they've been to the finals. Their body knows, okay, I should be in this shape at this point. Now they're just thrown off. They're
Right.
all thrown off. Just the whole sink.
Right, muscle memory, especially that's a perfect example because you say veteran. That muscle memory for those guys is going to be ingrained so well that your body is going to be like, bruh, what are we doing?
It's July. It's vacation.
Like
time.
why aren't we in Tahiti? Like so more on the Bucks. Did you know that they have the 5th highest margin of victory, in history? The 5th highest. I would say that's really good in nowadays because the scoring is so high. Defense isn't like what it used to be. But I was wondering if you could name the other 4.
The other 4, who would that be? Is that going to be one of the Bulls teams? Is that 96 Bulls team?
It is the 96 Bulls team, the 72-10 Bulls team. Okay,
Yeah.
Their margin of victory at that time was 12.2. And they were the third highest.
What do we have? The Warriors? Is that the 16?
2017 Warriors, but not the 73 and 9 team. Not that team.
Mm-hmm.
The team in 2017, so the 67 and 15 team,
Yep.
that their scoring margin was 11.6. Now that's 4th. So we have 2 other teams, 1 and 2.
Is one of those a Celtics team?
It wasn't. Surprisingly, right?
Really?
Yeah, you'd think it would be a
No
Celtic.
way.
That 86 Celtic team,
Yeah.
one of the greatest teams in something. You'd think it would be them. No, it was not them, right?
Huh.
But,
What do we got? Throw it at me.
okay, so number 2, it was the Bucks again.
It was the Bucks again?
But can you name the players on that team?
Oh, God, no.
Well, it was Lou Alcindor at the time.
Oh, okay.
The leading
Throwing it
scorer of all time
time.
himself, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Oscar Robertson on that team. Okay, so their margin of victory was 12
Mr.
point.
Triple-double himself.
12.2. And then coming in at number 1, highest margin of victory, averaged the 72 LA Lakers with Elgin Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, and Gail Goodrich. So, high company that these 2020 Bucks are in.
It makes sense. These guys are blowing people out of the water, and these are some of the best teams. Like, these could all have been top 10 teams, depending on how you rank them. So to try to keep that momentum and bring it into, not only is it just a completely new system, but it's a completely different time of the year. And not even all of the players on all of these teams are going to be there. Some of the players from some of these teams are saying, "Nah, I'm not hopping into this."
I'm glad you brought that up. That's real life, because you're not going to have... So, like you said, you don't think you can bring momentum in. I agree. I also think, to build on what you said, with all the players not coming back, that's real. Zion, as a matter of fact, I think today just left the bubble for a family emergency.
That was today. Yep.
So, whenever he decides to come back, it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks from the time he decides to come back, he's 2 weeks quarantined. The first game of this new bubble season is July 30th.
Well, it's not straight up 2 weeks. It's that he's like getting tested, like either daily or some weird stuff like that. But it's not like a straight up 2 weeks right when he gets back. Then it's just calling it for 2 weeks. It's some kind of weird testing mechanism. I don't know how it's going.
That only they have.
He's getting tested every single day that he's gone. So that's going to be like counting towards his whatever
time to sit outside
quarantine.
the bubble. Okay, that makes sense. Actually, I guess that's... I will say that it's not fun getting tested every day, probably. That sucks. Have you been tested for COVID yet?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay, good. That's good, because it's terrible. I'm COVID negative, just for everyone, but also I've been tested. It is one of the worst things I've had to deal with in a very long time. So, the Bucks, they're in the bubble. We don't think they can carry momentum. We agree on that. But I do think they're still going to come out of the East for the finals.
I could see it.
I don't see any other teams in the East coming out.
Well, that's... As soon as LeBron left the East, it was... it was just given up to him.
It's still wild to me that he is not only a Laker, but just in the Western Conference in general.
It's weird.
Okay? Because that has been the conference for like the last decade. Like, I'm thinking the last Eastern team to win a finals, was it the Heat a few times?
Yeah.
And that was LeBron. Cleveland, that one time. LeBron. Other than that...
Celtics.
I guess Toronto won last year. Right? With Kawhi. Well, speaking of that, let's talk about the Raptors. Because they're also in the bubble. And I have an interesting stat about the Raptors since Kawhi has left. So the Raptors actually have a better winning percentage without Kawhi on the roster.
All right. Do we really think that's surprising with all of his sitting out BS that he would do?
Well, that's something I'm going to talk about when we get to the Clippers, but we'll stay with the Raptors for a second, because I don't think that fucking stat matters at all, okay? Oh, better winning percentage. It's like, bro, okay, LeBron's not in the East anymore.
Means
the
nothing.
East sucks. You might have a better win percentage, but when it comes playoff time, who's your go-to guy? Because Kawhi is gone.
That's it. That was the guy.
That was the guy.
Yeah, they had some good players.
They had role players.
They didn't
have a number. They didn't have a number two straight up. They didn't have a number two. They had like Van Vliet running around. What's the guard? Kyle Lowry.
That was the All Stars. You had Lowry and you had Leonard.
Marc Gasol, right? I think is the less superior Gasol brother, but we can get to that another time. So I guess that leads you right into Clippers. It's a good segue because we were talking about Kawhi. Okay, load management. This has been the best thing for Kawhi I think that could have happened.
This is perfect. You want load management? They better come out and blow people out of the fucking
water.
I
don't want him to personally, but on a basketball spectator level, yes, he better come out killing it. Because this is like, and same for Paul George, because Paul George was still coming back from an injury.
He was. He needed time more than anybody.
He did. But I think the only detriment is that team, I think together with like their whole team, with everyone they have, has not played together to develop chemistry long enough before the break happened. So with Paul George, with Kawhi, with the other guys on the roster, they have, I think, played like together maybe a total of like 5 or 6 games together.
And that is that's a huge deal coming into whatever we're coming into, whatever we want to call it. I'm
just going to keep referring to it as a bubble.
As the bubble. Coming into the bubble, Nothing matters. Nothing matters anymore. So, like, we can say that, but I think that they're the front runner for me.
Okay.
The Clippers coming into this, they're the front runners for me coming out of the West. Well, the East is meh.
I guess I disagree, and this has nothing to do with what the other LA team. Okay, I really think the chemistry bit is big because now we're talking crunch time. Once we get into playoffs, you know that it's a different game is played in the playoffs. Okay, it's more intense. More's on the line. There's more pressure. Now we know that Kawhi can deliver under pressure, but what playoff teams has Paul George been on? And when is he going to be like, yo, I want to be the man. I want the ball in crunch time. They have not had a chance to hash that out.
Oh, absolutely.
In the regular season.
But is it even going to really feel like crunch time? For these guys themselves, absolutely. They're going to know it's a game. They're going to know it's important. But we don't know how they're going to actually feel. There's nobody there. This is completely new ground. I have no idea what in the world is going to happen.
You're referring to like no one being in the building.
Exactly. They're not going to have that energy. It's not going to feel.
It's going to be like me and you playing in the park.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not going to feel like the playoffs.
I had more spectators in the park than I will for these guys.
True. It's not going to feel like the finals. So, yeah, these guys are all ultra competitive, naturally, but it's still going to change that entire dynamic. So who knows what that's even going to do to this entire playoff scenario we have going on.
Well, no, and just I haven't even mentioned that the Clipper bench is scoring 51 points per game. Okay.
Deep.
They have a deep team. And I feel like that's probably one of the reasons why they're your front runner right now. And I can understand that. Bench is a huge deal. It really is. You look at most championship teams, and what sticks out to me in recent memory is those early Golden State Warrior teams. In the mid-decade, before KD got there, they had like Livingston coming off the bench and David Lee.
That was their whole motto, strength by numbers, right?
Yeah. And they could just put anybody in there. Iguodala came off the bench before they started in the finals.
And even before that, I mean, I hate this team, but the Thunder. When Harden was sixth man of the year,
oh my goodness,
that bench was so deep.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. I mean, them losing to the Spurs, I didn't think that was going to happen.
No.
That was a tough series back and forth, but that was their game plan as well. They were just deep, just having a deep squad.
It's disappointing that never came to fruition. I think I saw a meme this week that alluded to the fact that like these guys were on separate teams at one point and were all their team's leading scorers. You know, KD's an MVP, Russell's an MVP, James Harden's an MVP. It's just mind-blowing, and it sucks because this is a business, like any sport. And so you knew this thing had to happen. It's like the NFL when you have like great teams and you got to sign, someone to a max and you don't have room to sign maxes. No one's going to duplicate what the Heat did in 2010. Okay? All those guys took a pay cut to play together. That doesn't happen. That shit is rare.
Oh, that's done. That's everybody's like, where's mine?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I get it. Where's mine?
I get it. I get it too, but in the spirit of the game, I just like, bruh. It's like, I look at it with... I don't want to jump into another sport right now, so we'll hold off on that because we're talking about free agency in a little while here. I'm not done talking about this stupid bubble. Okay, we haven't talked about the Lakers yet. Okay, in my opinion, this is LeBron's last chance at a title. Now, this Laker team, much like the Bucks when this season was put on pause, had momentum. They really did.
They did.
But have you seen LeBron like during this whole thing, like coming into the bubble? He's still in killer shape.
He's the most durable player there ever has been. Easily. So that part is unsurprising. That dude has always been putting in work, going crazy, and just trying to do whatever he can to put the team on his back.
Right. And so he looks good to me. Lakers going to be returning without Avery Bradley. He's sitting it out. And then yesterday, or it might have been the day before yesterday, Rondo breaks a finger or something.
Yep.
Okay, and he's out for 6 to 8 weeks. Now, I checked the timetable. 6 to 8 weeks, playoffs will be happening. So he could return for a title run.
It's possible.
But Lakers went out and signed J.R. Smith.
Yep.
Okay, and I, as a Laker fan, watching Kobe own that man in Kobe's prime, I hated him. And then he pulls that stunt in Cleveland where he doesn't even know the score, and everyone knows that. I don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
Dude, he's just the most chill dude. He just looks high all the time. I love him. Fantastic.
No, I can't. I was very I mean, we needed to pick up somebody, obviously. Okay, we needed to pick up somebody for Avery Bradley, and J.R. Smith was out there, but I can't, dude. It was like being a Laker fan my entire life. There's certain people you never wanted to see in the jersey.
Makes sense.
I never wanted to see J.R. Smith repping the purple and gold armor. Okay, and that's a lot of things. Like I hated seeing Nick Young running around in fucking Nick Young. Hated seeing him run around in the purple and gold. But I think my front runner still is the Lakers, and I can admit that that's a little biased. But I'm not gonna poop on them. They have legit chances. I haven't even talked about Anthony Davis yet. Since he's been to the team, that Laker defense 180 from last season.
Completely flipped what they had been allowing.
Right.
He
I mean, he set a goal at the beginning of the season to be the defensive player of the year. Do I think he's going to get it? Probably not. But he's making a case. He's in the running.
He's there. He changes the entire game plan when he's on the court.
He does.
And, he's had some issues with play times and, being hurt and stuff like that. But when he's on the court, he's lights out.
Oh, his plus or minus is like plus.
He's lights out.
Yeah. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward, like I said, hopefully we can get there. I want to see some basketball. And Lakers frontrunner for me, I think it's LeBron's last chance. I also really believe that where we end up this season, the Lakers, is going to determine what Anthony Davis is going to do next season, because he is going to be a free agent. Okay, and all signs are pointing that he's going to return, but you can never be sure, man.
You can never be sure.
No.
You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, this is a good chance for LeBron. So, I mean, I don't think we're going against the grain with most of the teams saying, I'm thinking the Clippers, you're saying the Lakers, but what other teams are you thinking that might be some dark horses that just have an honest shot that definitely could make a case? They can make a run for it.
Maybe the Celtics. Maybe. They're in the bubble. And since Kyrie left and they got Kemba in there, they've been also playing lights out. Now, Gordon Hayward, who's a big part of that rotation, he's expecting a child. Okay, so he already said if his child's going to be born, he's leaving the bubble.
That's it.
Okay, so you can't argue with that. That's fine. But I think as a dark horse, I think the Celtics can overtake the Bucks in the East. I don't think anybody from the East is going to win the title. That's real life. It's either going to be Lakers or Clippers coming out of the West. You don't get me started on the Rockets.
About the Rockets, come on.
Get the Rockets out of my face, man. I have no respect for James Harden. I don't. And I'll take that to the bank. Even when he was sixth man on the freaking Rockets. The only time I ever felt bad for that guy was when Artest gave him a bow. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, he clocked him.
He clocked him hard. He knocked him out.
Yeah.
He was out for weeks.
Well, it was on purpose.
100%. It's Ron Artest. He was Meta World Peace at the time. But we won't get into all that. He's Ron Artest.
What a clown.
And that's the only time I ever had any sympathy for James Harden, okay? Don't like the guy. Don't respect him. He can score. He's a scorer. He's a scoring machine. I can
Clearly.
I can see that, and I can recognize it. But no, I don't like him. He's not a champion. He's not a warrior. And when I say warrior, I don't mean Golden State. I mean, warrior, okay? He's not a warrior. He's a punk. How you going to push Chris Paul out, bro?
Dude, he just is a scoring machine, and don't touch him, though, because, he'll fall right over.
Well, don't expect him to play defense either.
Oh, zero chance.
I think that if they don't win the title this year, which they're not going to, D'Antoni gets fired. And speaking of momentum, they had the opposite of momentum coming into this break. They lost the last 4 out of 5 coming in before the break happened. So they needed this. Maybe to regroup or hash something out or something, but they were not trending. And this is the time as a team where you need to trend. In April, in March is where you trend because you're going into the playoffs. They were not doing too hot. So this break, we'll see what it does for them. Maybe it could help them out, maybe not. Other teams in the bubble, and we don't need to get into all of them, but as far as how we've been getting into the Lakers and Clippers, we're talking about front runners, but we got the Nuggets. Okay, and Jokic had Corona, but I think now he's going to be in the bubble. He's clear. The Jazz, but they're not going to have Bogdanovich. And I don't know how that chemistry is going to be going with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Okay, that's some stuff going on, and they can tell the media all they want that they're all good and they've hashed it out, but legit, nah. I mean, I'm petty. If I'm Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert's touching mics and making fun of Corona, and then I get it from him, I'm petty. I'm mad. I'm mad about it.
It wasn't good, because I think all of us, maybe at the beginning of this, were just had some doubts. There's no way we could have actually thought I mean, there's no way I did anyway that it was going to blow up to be what it did. And then it started happening. I was like, oh, okay, this all makes sense. I get it. Probably wasn't funny to mess with him. I mean, I never thought it was funny, but...
It was kind of funny. Okay, I'll say it. It was kind of funny.
It definitely wouldn't be a thing that you should mess around with. But in the beginning, who knew? Who knew it was going to be this?
No, I don't think anybody did. Right? And then... So yeah, some chemistry issues there maybe. Got the Heat coming in from the East. The Thunder, okay?
Bah.
Okay, yeah, you're a hater. I get it. You can be a hater. That's fine. I'm also a hater on the Thunder, but I love Chris Paul. So, do I think they have any chance to win a title? No. I don't think they're getting the Western Conference Finals. But I love what he did with that team this year. Getting traded for Westbrook, coming in, everyone's like, that team's going to suck. They're going to be in the lottery. And then they were en route to go to the playoffs. They had a great team. Their chemistry was wild. They had a bunch of young guys.
They were there.
And then Chris Paul. And I love, what's his name on that team? Steven Adams. That's the man's man. I love that guy. And then, the Rockets. The Pacers. 76ers. Underwhelming to me. I have a few friends out there that are 76er fans, and I'm sure they can agree when I say that they have issues. They have problems.
They don't work. It's not gonna work. It's
I literally thought you were saying they don't work like they don't work hard, and I was going to agree, but then I realized you said they don't work as a team. I get it now.
They don't work, and it's not gonna work. Okay, you have Ben Simmons and you have Joel Embiid. You do have some of these dynamic players. These guys are going out of their brains, just balling out. But their play styles just don't work together.
No, they don't.
It's just
they
not.
don't.
It's not cohesive.
Do you get rid of Embiid or do you get rid of Simmons? Go.
You get rid of Embiid. He's injury prone, and
he's a punk.
And
he's a punk.
He's not as bad as KD on social media, but he's on social media.
We don't know. He could have burner accounts. He just hasn't slipped up like KD yet.
He probably does. But Simmons can't shoot. Okay.
No, he tried to throw a fish back in the ocean, and he missed.
Simmons can't shoot. Okay, but you can fix a shot. You can't fix somebody being injured all the time.
No,
that's just gonna happen more and more. Okay, but you can fix a shot. You can build your team around this young player. Yeah, they're both young players, but you get rid of Embiid. That's where I'm at.
Okay, I disagree, and not for the reasons you said. Like, I think that Embiid is injury prone. But I think you can still build a team around Embiid. I don't think you can build a team around Simmons. That's what it comes down to for me. Building around a player. I think you can put players around Embiid to make it a winning team. I don't think you can put anybody around Simmons, short of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal, guys like that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right. The Mavericks, I love Luka. Right? They have the most efficient offense in the league.
They're the dark horse
for you.
For me. They just have these. Luka is just love the guy.
He's filthy.
Love the guy.
He's filthy.
The guy is crazy. Oh my goodness. And who's that other?
They got Kristaps, bro.
Kristaps.
Porzingis.
That's the man. That's the man too. Like they just have a good squad. It's just an all-around good squad. Yeah. It's not like they're doing anything crazy. They're not flashy. They're just playing the game.
Well, yeah, think about it. I just told you they're the most efficient offense. No one knows that.
They're just playing the game. They're like the Spurs. They're like how the Spurs were, okay? They're, of course, clearly not as good as the Spurs, but they're on that level, just doing their job, getting it done.
Okay, I like that. Dark Horse Mavericks for you. Okay, we got Grizzlies coming in. Ja Morant, Rookie of the Year for sure. If Zion gets it, we riot.
Oh, God.
Nets are coming in. No Durant. Nope. Maybe Kyrie, but he's going back and forth.
Yeah, we don't know.
Magic. Who the hell is on the Magic?
Magic is still a team?
Right? Moving on. Blazers. They only got Dame.
They got Dame. That's it.
I love Dame. But it's not going to save you. Sorry, Portland. Pelicans, right? Zion believes he's in shape. We're going to find out.
We will find out. We'll see.
I think he needed a breather too.
He was looking good, but he's
looking tired.
He's looking tired.
Okay.
He was looking good, but he was looking
gassed.
tired.
All right. Kings. It's really funny here. I have to point this out. I have notes here about who's going into the bubble, and on Magic, for the Magic, I wrote, "Don't worry about the Magic."
Don't worry about it.
And on Kings, I wrote, "See Magic." Okay, here's one of the teams I want to talk about just a little bit in depth. It is the Spurs. You mentioned them earlier. Okay, this is their worst season that they've had since the 96-97 season. Okay, since then they've made the playoffs 22 straight years.
Yeah.
Now they're in playoff position right now with the record, but the bubble, the few games they play is going to do seeding, so
Exactly.
they could potentially not make the playoffs, and that record is at stake.
Sorry, Pop.
And I love Pop. But they're not going to have LaMarcus Aldridge. He's not playing.
Yep.
And they're not playing well. And then Suns.
Bah.
And then the Wizards, who have the worst defensive rating in the NBA. And no John Wall.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that rounds out the bubble. Okay. So going forward, I just want to say, do you think that whoever wins the title from this bubble, there's an asterisk next to it? Like when you're looking at teams, it's like 2019, this team won. 2020, this team won. Asterisk.
I don't think so, because we were past the midway point of the season. We were into the part of the season where it gets down and dirty.
Right, you got teams trying to get into that 8th seed.
Exactly. So it wasn't just like, hey, this is a gimme. We're just throwing some teams in here. You guys can fight for it. It's not like they played 20 games.
Right.
You know, they were in the nitty-gritty. They got down into it. So this season, I don't think it has an asterisk next to it. I think that it's not going to mean as much. And it's definitely not going to be the same. When you look at the history books, it's just going to be another season. But for the people who remember it, I mean, most of us will, it's going to be different. It's honestly not going to mean as much.
Okay, this is where we're going to disagree. I think there will be an asterisk on it, but not because it was like, oh yeah, that we don't count that, but because it's going to matter so much more. You just said at the beginning of this segment that bodies are not trained to play basketball in July, not in August,
True.
not in September, and not at peak physical exertion in October when the finals are supposed to take place. Okay.
That's going to be so weird.
Yes, it is. So you look at it from that perspective. You say, hey, look, these guys had momentum. These guys didn't. But these guys that did were coming into the playoffs. Season gets postponed. And they don't resume again until July. And then they play a whole playoff series and a finals without fans, under duress, with everything going on in the world. Not just COVID related, but social issues. All that going on outside. You can't leave. You can't see your family. You can't go to In-N-Out because they're in Orlando. You can't do these fun things. And then you win a title amongst all the adversity. I think this absolutely has an asterisk next to it, but because it was so much harder to win. I think this is going to be one of the harder titles for a team to win.
That was weird. We disagreed for the weirdest reasons.
Yes.
We should have conflicting reasons that, like, I should agree with half of that and you should agree with half. That was weird.
That was weird.
But yeah, it's just the whole season is it's different.
A little bit.
It's different.
It's it. And I'm excited. I'm very excited. Obviously, I've been sports deprived for a few months now. I've been trying to watch golf. I do enjoy golf. I enjoy golfing, but I can't say that I enjoy watching it. I'm going to get a lot of hate from that from certain people, but I don't care. I can't watch it. Can't do it.
You know what I fucking love? Watching golf.
Oh.
And I never go. I hate golfing.
No, you're coming to golfing with. No, you're coming to golfing with.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, coming golfing.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
It's a good time.
I will watch it all day.
Wow. I watch the World Series of Bags sometimes. That's fun.
On the Ocho?
The Ocho. Mm-hmm.
That's key.
Okay, you know what? One of these days in the near future, we're going to talk about the official quote-unquote rules of bags. That pisses me off. Okay, but let's jump outside the bubble. We just talked about who we think is going to win and stuff like that. What do we think this is an asterisk season or not? Obviously, we had a weird thing going on with our opinions on it. Yeah. But that's part of the show. So let's talk about Dak, bro. Going right into NFL free agency, contracts and stuff like that. We'll get to Pat Mahomes in a little bit, but this Dak news is pretty fresh. Franchise tagged for another year. Did not come to an agreement. What does he want? Does he want Mahomes money? He doesn't deserve it.
He doesn't deserve Russ money.
No.
He doesn't deserve Roethlisberger money.
No.
He doesn't deserve... Mahomes isn't even... That's an upper
a
echelon.
class all in its own.
He's in fucking space right now.
Right.
He just set a ridiculous record. But I don't know what he wants. And that's the hardest thing is, like, we don't know what he wants, and what does he even deserve?
He deserves Derek Carr money, if anything. Okay? And that's coming from a Raider fan. All right, because Derek
What
had
is
that
Derek
one
getting,
season.
27? Is he getting 27?
No. He signed that 5-year, $125 million. So he's at most getting 25.
He's getting 25 a year.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Dak coming off all of this, all of these issues came right after Russell Wilson signed his $35 million year contract.
Yes.
Does he deserve it? Does he not deserve it? At that point, Russell Wilson is the heart and soul of the Seahawks. So in that point, yes, absolutely, he deserves it. Is Dak the heart and soul of the Dallas Cowboys?
No, because they have no heart or
You know
soul.
who is?
Jerry Jones.
Jerry fucking Jones.
Okay. Here. I see it. I feel like this is the way I look at it. Dak is being childish because he's like, oh, Russ got a contract, a lot of money. Oh, this guy's getting money. I want money. It's like, bro, what have you done? You're going to get money, okay? You're going to get more money than a lot of quarterbacks in the league. But what you're asking for is childish.
It's childish. You're not going to be the highest paid. You're not. I don't think you should be top 5 highest paid.
No, because you could name 5 quarterbacks right now without even thinking about it that are better than him.
Of course, how contracts go, how salaries go, just over time it inflates. It's going to get higher. Like, wow, this guy's getting paid more than this guy, and
right.
it's just
and
how
incentives.
It is.
Incentives are built into those.
So I could see them paying him, doing a 4-year deal, $30 million.
And that would be like,
I think that's perfect. I think that would be exactly what
he's worth.
And of course, you're always going to, I mean, I guess you should view yourself as valued higher than you are.
I think a lot of it has to do with the team itself.
Self-esteem issues, I guess, but shit like that.
Being a Cowboy, being a Cowboy means a lot, and I hate to say it because I hate the Cowboys, but like, you're representing America's team. It's the Cowboys. It's a very storied franchise, and to be the quarterback of a team like that, you should get a little bit more money.
We can mess around all we want.
But you're not getting $40 million.
We can mess around all we want to. Like, okay, yeah, it's Dak. He's on the Cowboys. Oh yeah, whatever. But that's completely right. It's a celebrity team.
It is.
It really is. Always has been. And
it'd be like the equivalent of like the Lakers, right?
Absolutely.
In the NBA.
But dude, know yourself. Know your worth.
Yeah. Because I don't know, like I don't feel like this is me personally, is like, I hate that shit. I hate seeing this shit. Just take money and play, man. Play. You're turning me off from you as a person. I'm turned off from you.
Well,
I'm turned off.
So
and I liked Dak. I liked him like a couple years ago. I liked him. Okay. As a matter of fact, that was a year, 2016, when the Cowboys were like 13-3. Raiders were 12-4. Everyone was like, Raider. Yeah, when he came in.
Came in hot.
And when maybe he didn't deserve money then either, but he deserved like, okay, yeah, this dude's gonna get better. We're gonna pay him. But he didn't get better. He didn't regress. He just kind of plateaued.
He slowly, his improvements were not easily seen. Let's say that. I think he got better. I think he got a better game sense. He was able to. I'm not saying it's a good game sense. Let's slow it down there. But he got a better game sense, and he was able to actually understand the game more throughout the years, of course, as you should.
Right.
But it wasn't like he was ever like, oh man, he improved so much, or he used to be doing this, now he's doing this. Not a chance.
No. But then you say you didn't get to see a lot of improvements because they were small, but also, like, bro, that division is so terrible that if you think you are worth $40 million a year, you should be winning that division every year.
Now, is it terrible, or is it the most competitive?
Stop it.
Hey, that's all I'm saying. You know, last couple years, they had 4 years in a row where each different team won the division. You know, that's all I'm saying. Is hot take? Is it the most competitive division?
We will dedicate an entire segment next week on that division. Let's do it. I'm into it. We can talk about that. Okay, but running short on time here, so we're gonna go ahead and jump right into hot route.
Hot route.
Hot route.
All right. Okay. Hot route.
Hot route. Okay, and this one's me posing scenarios to Ed this time around. Okay, so first scenario, you got Peyton Manning.
Okay.
2-minute drill.
Okay.
To win the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
easy. Yeah.
He's down 6.
Is that just the choice? Do I just
No.
do I win with that?
No, you wish.
Oh, okay.
You're down 6. Touchdown wins you the game. Essentially, probably he's going to win you the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather have the 85 Bear defense out there or the 2014 Seahawks defense out there?
Okay, so wait, what game is this? Is this playoffs?
This is the Super Bowl.
This is the Super Bowl? Oh, God. Okay, so the Seahawks, that Seahawks team can be argued with the 85 Bears. I'm glad you put them right next to each other. They can be argued with the 85 Bears. I think the Bears that season allowed like 135 points, and the Seahawks allowed like 146 points or something, and the Seahawks played 2 more games. You know, so they're comparable in that notion. And that's just one of the comparisons. You could go in like crazy. But the 2 games before the Super Bowl for those 85 Bears, the 2 playoff games before the Super Bowl, they shut out their opponents.
They did. I looked it up.
They shut out their opponents. And I don't remember how much they got scored on in the Super Bowl, but they won.
They did.
So it's the 85 Bears.
It's the 85 Bears.
It's the 85 Bears. Okay. But that's Seahawks team, the Legion of Boom.
Yes.
That's how you know when a team that defense has made it.
Right, yes.
You know?
When you're compared to the 85 Bears.
Well, no, when you have a name. You have the Purple People Eaters, you know? You had the Vikings back in the day.
Yes.
Back in the day, you had the 85 Bears. You had the Legion of Boom. You get a name, you're
an elite defense.
You're on somebody's plaque.
Right. Okay, damn, do I answer these? No, not answering them. We're going to save them. Hot route is only objective for you.
Oh, shit.
Okay, next one. We have 3 of these. The third one's pretty easy. The second one, though, okay? You have Shaq in his prime. I'm talking 3-peat Shaq.
Yep.
3-time final MVP Shaq. 2000 Shaq.
Yep.
Okay. Would you rather pair him with prime Kobe or prime Wade? Now, prime Wade with prime Shaq. We never got to see that. We saw prime Kobe and prime Shaq.
We never saw that.
We didn't even actually see prime Kobe and prime Shaq. We saw prime Shaq and young Kobe.
Yep.
So who do you, prime Kobe or prime Wade with prime Shaq? Don't worry, I won't get mad.
I just wish that Shaq had stayed with Kobe. I really do.
I think everybody does. I think Shaq definitely admitted he did. He does.
I wish that did happen. I wish he stayed with him. I enjoyed watching the Wade and Shaq play together. That was fun too. Oh man. That's a tough one. Prime. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go with Shaq and D Wade because Kobe and Shaq, both of them are extremely dominant.
Alphas.
Okay, they are. They're both extremely dominant, and D Wade can play. He can play anything. You know,
he played with LeBron.
He played with LeBron. He's that elusive sidekick, and he's not even a sidekick. He's just the person who can do everything else when Shaq is killing it in the paint.
Okay,
that's where I'm at.
Okay, you're picking D Wade to pair with Shaq, with prime Shaq.
Yep.
But if you had to pick D Wade or Kobe in their prime just by themselves,
of course it's Kobe.
Okay, just I wanted to get that straight.
Oh, it's just these are facts.
Okay, last hot route.
Okay, hot route.
I just watched a 30 for 30 called Long Gone Summer, right? About Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa.
Mm-hmm.
The home run race of 98.
Yep.
Okay. In 98, there were 3 contenders for that record. Okay. Now, if you take away steroids and corked bats from Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, who wins the home run race? Sosa, McGwire, or Ken Griffey Jr.?
It's Griffey. It's Griffey. It's easy. It's Griffey.
Are you being biased?
Absolutely. But also, the facts are just that he also got injured a decent amount of his career when he went to the Reds. This is way later. This is after it.
He was a Mariner at this time.
I understand. So
this is prime Ken Griffey.
This is prime Ken Griffey. You take away all that extra stuff. I mean, have you ever heard of any kind of rumors, any
controversy with Ken Griffey? No way.
No kind of.
All you hear about Ken Griffey Jr. is that he was the best all-around player. Him and Jeter are in a class.
It's just classy guys.
Yeah.
That's what him and Jeter are. Like, you can't really find anybody who hates Jeter unless they're just a real salty
A-Rod.
Red Sox fan.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, well, yeah, if I was a Red Sox fan, I'd hate Jeter too.
Or who'll hate Ken Griffey. Or, for that matter, Ichiro.
Oh, love it.
There are certain guys who are just so classy in how they played the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what baseball is. That's what baseball's tried to be forever. And I think it's gotten a little bit away from that, but just we have these classy guys. And so there's never been any kind of controversy with Griffey.
And you're taking Griffey.
For a chance. I'm taking Griffey.
I'm taking Griffey, too.
I'm taking Griffey.
He was in the race, and then he kind of fizzled out. Probably wasn't doing steroids or using corked bats. I'm not saying that Sammy Sosa did use corked bats that season. He was eventually caught using one. Mark McGwire definitely was using steroids that season, though. Still a great guy.
Still hit some fucking yams.
Hit dingers.
Yeah.
All right. That's about all the time we have left today. That was a fun hot route.
That was a good hot route.
Yeah, all right. So, that's going to be it today, right? We covered the NBA bubble for majority of the time. I had fun with that. I'm really looking forward to the NBA season coming back. I'm really looking forward to Dak not signing a fat contract. And then hot route. You got anything to add before we peace out?
I've got nothing to add. It was a good first episode. Talked about the bubble. Talked about the old Dak attack. And had some nice hot routes.
Hot route. All right. You're listening to Almost Agreeable, the podcast where we almost agree most of the time. I'm Chris Nellison.
I'm Ed Harris.
And we'll see you next week.